bring in Chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, Kentucky Representative James Comer. Sir, you guys actually are making efforts to get to the bottom of who's funding all this stuff and what you can do about it.
Yeah, we're trying to get people in to go on the record so we can build up a case that will actually win in court. That's what we do on the Oversight Committee. We can't arrest anyone, but we can have criminal referrals to the Department of Justice. And this is a huge issue. We've got budget deficits. We've got these liberal groups that are using taxpayer dollars to try to destroy our country. And yet the majority of members of Congress just turn a blind eye to it because it's too much trouble to try to halt funding for everything else to try to identify a fraction of that, which is going to those NGOs. It's been real frustrating, but we're not going to stop. We've got a good committee, and we know the problem's there, and we're going to keep fighting till we see some accountability.
Yeah, well, you guys are handing all it over to the DOJ, and the DOJ is bringing it about as far as a lead balloon, so we'll see what happens there. But you also announced an investigation into rampant taxpayer fraud in California's hospice programs. Billions of dollars. You wrote a letter to Gavin Newsom saying that he knew about the state audit reports of hospice fraud for at least 4 years and didn't do anything about that. This would drive me insane, sir.
Yeah, hospice is a program everyone supports. And everyone uses hospice in their deepest, darkest time of need. And to find out that billions of dollars of fraud has occurred in hospice in California is sickening to any taxpayer. But we're zeroing in on one county, Los Angeles County, where 18% of the total amount of money spent on hospice in America went to this one county. Under further review, there were no guardrails. You and I could form an LLC today and buy a UPS post office box and get licensed within 24 hours in the state of California and start billing hospice for fake patients like the Leering Center in Minnesota. So we're zeroed in on this. Gavin Newsom is always a day late and a dollar short. He's come in and said, okay, we're going to put guardrails in. Well, he's known about it for 4 years and hasn't done anything about it. Now, I'm optimistic on this welfare fraud because we're seeing people convicted. We're seeing the Bondi Department of Justice in Minnesota now prosecuting people, going in front of grand juries, getting people convicted. We're going to see the same thing in California. So we're working with the Department of Justice, working with Vice President J.D. Vance, who's just been placed in charge of a national fraud task force. And I really think that in these fraud cases in these states, we're going to see some accountability.
It's crazy to me. In a place like California, it's easier to build a hospice center and get licensed for that than it is to get a lawful gun permit.
Yeah, that's right.
Kash Patel has moved to release the old files on Congressman Eric Swalwell over his, I got to say, alleged sleeping with a Chinese spy, Fang Fang. Sir?
Yeah, that's great. And I so strongly support that. That the American people deserve to know the truth about that. He never was held accountable. The mainstream media never covered it. The conservative media outlets covered it. But now that he's, a potential gubernatorial candidate of the biggest state in America, the American people deserve to know. And Kash Patel's doing what Donald Trump campaigned on doing. He's being transparent. The media wants all the Epstein documents released, even though there are class action lawsuits ongoing, even though many of these victims have signed non-disclosure agreements. But they don't want Eric Swalwell's FBI files disclosed. I mean, it's crazy. I support Kash Patel doing that, and I'm glad he's doing it. I hope the American people see what we're dealing with here with Eric Swalwell.
Also, if you have a congressman on foreign affairs committees and access to intel allegedly sleeping with a Chinese spy, I kind of want to know about him. Congressman James Comer, keep up the good work, sir.
Thank you.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.